Well, we started the album January 2010 in a converted synagogue in Bethnal Green, which is basically this big room with high ceilings that we could hang microphones off. And we were in there for about a month and a half. And then after a few series of peculiar events, we ended up meeting and talking with Jason Lader, who co-produced the record. And we went out and did a brief session with him in LA, just me and Tom, and then it went well, so we brought the rest of the band out and did 2 months there. No, it was pure coincidence, Jason, really. I mean, our manager also manages the band Phoenix, and he was out at Coachella Festival, and I'd had a conversation with him a day before discussing the Julian Casablancas album that Jason produced and saying how much I liked it. And at that festival, one of his friends turned around and was like, "Oh, this is my friend Jason," and it was Jason Lader. And so played him some of the demos, and Jason liked them. And
very faithful, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The rest is history. Well, what we wanted really, and he's one of the few guys who does this, is someone who can do programming and guitar. You know, like rock. He can do rock records, and he can do like more beats records. Like he did the programming on 99 Problems, which is like the greatest programming of all time. So yeah, I don't know. If
he's a real technician, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He can realise the sound you hear.
He's a great engineer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we very, very purposely wanted to challenge ourselves with this record and not rely on what was familiar, and that's in the songwriting too. You know, this is the first time writing with characters really, and the most outward-looking record of all of ours. And then I don't know. I guess with the sound, it kind of a mixture of just experimenting between us and sort of. I guess this one as well, probably more than the previous, represents a shared influence. You know, I think this one is probably most reflective of what we listen to collectively as a band.
Well, I think, you know, the industry certainly judges artists these days by their first album, and like that might not have been the case in the past where an artist had time to find a sound. So I think, you know, we do love to experiment, but there's also a sort of thing of just not wanting to stand still and not wanting to be typecast, I guess.
They do get tested a little, though, don't they?
They do get tested. Yeah.
They knew it was, you know, the first and the second album were quite different.
Yeah.
Now the second and the third are quite different. I think it's not like we sit together with a map of the world and discuss our plan. You know, before every album, it's like this album we're going to do this. You know, it's like it's in the guts. It's instinctive. You just kind of you write a record and the how you dress it is whatever feels right. You know. Well, you know, I very purposely didn't want to attach any too distinct imagery to the record. You know, I think at the very base of these songs, it's kind of very straightforward songs that I think everyone has had experiences similar or can relate to. You know, and so for example, a nice little segue here. The first song we did in today's session, Tonight's the Kind of Night, is just the story of this boy on a bus headed out of town making his first break for freedom. You know, and I think it's a story that anyone can place themselves in, and you can imagine it wherever you are. You can imagine it. Probably, you know, it lends itself very well to the big American blackness of the night. But likewise, it could be just a bus headed out of London suburbia, or a bus headed, I don't know, out of Paris. Yeah. Change, I think.
Hope.
Yeah. I think this one, like the main thread. It's all pretty much set in the nighttime, so there's a lot of romance at the nighttime and limitless possibility. But more than anything, I think it's about people on the precipice of making a change in their life, or just after making a change.
Yeah, we start touring end of May, I think it's end of May, going to June, and it's a full-blown 20-date tour or something. So you'll see plenty of us over there.
It's the Southern Horseshoe, though. We've always gone over the top.
Yeah,
before. We've always gone
north.
by kind of Chicago into Canada. This time we're actually doing the southern states as well, which is very exciting.
The full thing.
So Give It All Back. What's there to say about
we struggled with Give It All Back.
Yeah, that was a tough one to get down.
Yeah, first of all we played the main kind of marimba riff. We played on piano or something, but then
we had a different chorus initially as well. I had the chorus, You're on Fire Tonight.
Which,
and then
that was in a different key.
Then Jason was like, you can't have that, you know, Kings of Leon did Sex is on Fire, and it's cooler because you say the word sex in it, so you can't have just You're on Fire Tonight. And so I thought, yeah, that's a good point. And so went back and kind of rewrote it a little.
Yeah.
And then that was, as soon as I went back home, wrote it on acoustic, came back in, and that's when we found, that was when someone said marimba. Those faithful words. Yeah, I remember because I love the soundtrack to True Romance, you know that, the marimba piece and that, and I've always ever since I heard that, I've wanted to do something with marimba in, and perfect opportunity. No, both this record and the previous record, I had whatever it is, 11 songs and 10 songs written, and they were it. You know, I just spent the whole year writing those. I mean, there was a few maybe that got started and then I kind of pulled the plug straight away, but you know, the thing about this record is it's 33.3 minutes long, something like that, third record, and it took the longest to make of all three of our albums. And the reason why, I think it was because it was a case of refining it over a year. It was like, I wanted to make the most direct record we could, and that's in terms of songwriting, in terms of production, everything. I wanted it to be, you know, no extra weight on there. And so this one, yeah, like I say, it was kind of 10 songs that were just, I mean, like for example, Wild Thing started out as like a 9.5 minute, you know, beast that we eventually got down to whatever it is now, 4 and a bit, I guess. I mean, in fairness, that was because I was listening to Street Hassle a lot, and I just wanted a 9-minute song. Yeah, no, I think it's very rare that we're not one of those bands that writes like 100 songs and then picks the 10 best ones. It's like just write 10 songs.